Yo, what's going on, fellas? It's your main man, SixPathsDunga, coming to you all again with yet another reaction video. So I'll just be blunt. Like, this was a video I seen on my feed, and it did look really interesting. I mean, most of the times when videos look interesting, I save it to a certain playlist to, react to it. Because it's like, since I'm going to watch it anyway, I might as well watch it and give my thoughts and just upload it, you know what I mean? So it's like, whenever I see videos that have interesting titles or, narratives that I can possibly get behind, maybe, I don't know about this one, but we'll see. But yeah, anytime I see a video that looks interesting, I'm more likely to watch it than not. But at the end of the day, they're just theories. They're fun to react to, talk about, have discussions and all that. And if it grows into something more, then yeah, so be it. So we have right here by Kiromaki, Jura is Kawaki Shinju clone. Boruto secret plot revealed. So, I mean, you guys can see why I'm a little skeptical going into it. Only because of certain things that has been established in the story. Like, we know that Jura is the reincarnation of the Ten Tails, and that has been stated by him. I mean, but Ikimoto always throws plot holes in there. And there's the whole thing about him being after Naruto and all that. So, I mean, he's obviously going to use that as a talking point in the video. So yeah, I want to see what he got going on in there. But before we get into the video, Kiromaki, I'm going to leave the link to his channel down below in the description. So make sure you guys go check him out. Most of you guys already know who he is, so that's good. But if you like his content and you guys are reacting to him for the first time, I'll leave that link down there for you guys. But yeah, without further ado, let's hop into it.
So Jura is the Shinju clone of Kawaki.
Just saying that right out the gate.
That is the popular theory going around at the moment, and the funny thing is that I made a video on this very topic over 2 years ago.
Is that a popular topic going around in the community? I don't know. I haven't seen nothing about that. So, I mean, I know it is an old theory, but I thought it got debunked in, what was it, like chapter 8, chapter 9? I know it is an old theory because a lot of people talked about it before, Jura revealed his identity. There was a lot. I've heard Naruto, I've heard Kawaki, I've even heard Gaara. Even that one dude who first got turned into a tree back in chapter 2. I think his name was Soegi or something like that. I've heard it all, you know what I mean? But I didn't know the talks came back up. So, I mean, if that is true, that is pretty interesting. I don't know what got people talking about that again.
There is a way all of this works as one theory, where Jura is both the embodiment of the Ten Tails and also a clone of Kawaki. You see, to understand why this makes sense, we first need to outline some important facts about these entities. One being the fact that we know for certain that these beings were created using the chakra of someone that was turned into a tree. This was confirmed by Ada in chapter 5 when she said that the chakra of the people who were devoured and turned into a tree by the Clogrimes created these guys. And this was later backed up by Boruto himself in chapter 14. While he was questioned about the Shinju. We can also see this in the design of the characters being very similar to that of the person they copied. Along with
so that much is confirmed already.
Such as Sasuke's Chidori, Moegi's Wood Release, and Shinki's Iron Sand. Now it doesn't end there because in chapter 5, it's revealed that they also share an even deeper connection, in that they possess an innate goal or instinct to consume the person closest to the being they copied. Jura believes that this is a side effect of them evolving differently, thus changing their instinctual drive, and that they should give in to it, which should in turn reveal their personal targets. This led to Matsuri revealing that she has the urge to consume Konohamaru, who of course is the childhood friend of Moegi, the person she copied. The same thing happened with Hidari and Sarada, Ryu and Gaara.
And I mean, just because he's after Naruto, I mean, while it is a good argument, that won't tell the whole story, because in addition to Naruto, he's also after Himawari. So he essentially has two targets. Or you can say Kurama because it was Kurama's chakra that attracted Jura to Himawari in the first place. So if I was to say Jura is Kawaki Shinju clone, I mean, of course you have the Naruto thing, right? He's after Naruto first and foremost, but he's also after Himawari. That target makes less sense, because why would a Kawaki Shinju clone be after Himawari, or even Kurama for that matter anyway? I mean, two things can possibly be true at once. He can be a reincarnation of the Ten Tails, but also be influenced by Kawaki's chakra. But that is a big statement to back up. You're gonna have to back that up with some facts. So yeah, it's still probably looking very unlikely, But who knows, I'm gonna let him speak his point.
So what they all have in common is that they want to consume the person the cloned individual cared for the most or had the deepest connection with. This of course then leads us to Jura, who mysteriously didn't have his counterpart revealed for a very long time, and that was done for a reason. You see, how I came to the conclusion that he was a clone of Kawaki and by extension Ishiki to some extent was by using the same logic employed for the other Shinju. Only in this case we're kinda working backwards because it was later revealed that his desire is to consume Naruto, which means that the person he copied had to have had a deep connection to Naruto, as it was for the other Shinju. Now, as we know, it was later revealed that this is because Naruto had a deep connection to the Biju. And since all Bijus share a connection, whether it's the 9 Bijus connection to the Ten Tails or the connection that Ten Tails has to other Ten Tails, which was confirmed in this dialogue statement, Jura is able to connect with Naruto through that established link. Now, one could say, why did it have to be Naruto? Why isn't Jura obsessed with consuming Hagoromo, the person who had an even deeper connection to the Tail Beast? Because even though Naruto has the respect of the Biju for the most part, he isn't that deeply connected to them outside of Kurama. Most of them don't even show up to the gathering place anymore, as opposed to Hagoromo, who had the love of the Biju and spent a much longer time with them. So is it because Hagoromo passed away? Well, we're not sure. I mean, based on what happened in the story, whether or not the person is considered to be alive isn't of consequence. Naruto, according to the public, which includes the Biju, died over 3 years ago, long before Jura was born. He exists in a timeless space that's also a sealed dimension.
I see what he's more or less trying to do. He's trying to insinuate that Jura is somehow influenced by Ishiki's chakra, or maybe not Ishiki's chakra, but Kawaki's chakra. And of course, Kawaki has Ishiki's DNA. So I guess you would say Kawaki in this instance, yes. But it might be that Jura is influenced by Kawaki's chakra, and that is making him wanting to go after Naruto. Because if he just wanted to go after Naruto because of his shared connection with the Biju, he should have targeted Hagoromo. But at the same time, it also makes sense for Jura to want to go after Naruto because behind Hagoromo, Naruto is the closest one who shares that connection to the Biju. Hagoromo has been long gone. So if Jura was to come out and say, yeah, my target is Hagoromo, it would not make any sense because there's no possible way to do that. So just keep that in mind because that is a plausible argument too.
And we also know that the Shinju can't sense their targets, which is why Jura tried to track Naruto using the chakra of the Nine Tails, which then led him to Himawari. And even if you wanted to use the argument that, well, maybe because the Nine Tails chakra was around and that made him believe that Naruto was still alive as well, you could also use that argument for Hagoromo. He also had the Nine Tails inside him for a very long time, even longer than Naruto has. So why didn't he try to find Hagoromo instead of finding Naruto, both of whom are considered to be dead? Is it because Naruto has a deep connection to Kurama specifically? Possibly, but that would also apply to Hagoromo and even
I think this
Killer
goes
Bee,
into
who
that
has a
whole
deep connection
love thing
and
with
even
Jura.
longer connection to the Eight Tails. So the question again is why Naruto? Well, that's where Kawaki comes in. You see, if Jura is both the embodiment of the Ten Tails, Shinju,
so this might be his
combination
main
of
argument.
Kawaki's essence, that would explain why it zeroed in on Naruto, since Kawaki is obsessed with Naruto. It isn't lost on us that the main villain's obsession is the same as Kawaki's, which makes for a very interesting parallel. One wants to consume him, while the other wants to protect him, which both stem from the same obsession. Now, to further justify this, let's look at some other things, such as physical appearance, which would narrow it down to Kawaki and Jigen. This is fairly obvious since Jura's body composition and hairstyle resembles theirs, similar to how the other Shinju resembled their counterparts.
Okay.
Now, some would mention Jonin number 616 who got bitten by one of the Clawgrams, mainly due to the fact that he has a mohawk similar to Kawaki.
This is the guy I was talking about. This is the guy who a lot of people thought initially was Jura. Now, if this was true, I mean, this will be a huge letdown. But this right here, this little half mohawk haircut thingy he got on his head, I don't even know what that is he got on his head. But yeah, that is pretty similar to what Jura got going on up there too. I mean, if the Shinju take on the appearance of their counterpart, this wouldn't be too far-fetched. But there's absolutely no way you could convince me that, you know, Jura is a clone of Soegi. So I'm not even gonna listen to you if you said that anyway. And honestly, that would just ruin his character for me. Like, yeah, that would just ruin his character for me. So yeah, don't say that at all. Hope you're not trying to use that as a talking point. That would be absolutely crazy. But so far, what he said about Kawaki, making the connection between him and Hagoromo, it does make sense. But then there's also the thing, like, Hagoromo has been dead for like centuries now. So Jura could just come to the conclusion that Hagoromo isn't in this world anymore just based off that. I mean, let's be honest, Jura is a very smart character. He knows a lot of information about a lot of people. And I just chalk that up to him being the reincarnation of the Ten Tails. And also him just developing faster than the other Shinju, taking in information, his hunger for information, all that equates to his current knowledge right now. I mean, so yes, that argument is there for sure. And you could possibly make the connection between the Ten Tails and Jura. And you could possibly make the connection between the Ten Tails and Ishiki to kind of come up with the case that Jura is Kawaki Shinju clone. But at the same time, it's an argument we all heard before. Just him going after Naruto, we all heard that. So I want to hear him make a connection between Ishiki and the Ten Tails and kind of like connect that to Kawaki some way. I was hoping he did that. Maybe it's not too late. I gotta see. We're only like halfway through the video, so yeah, let's see what he gotta say.
While he does have a similar hairstyle to some extent, his body composition is totally different, along with the fact that he doesn't have the ability to fly.
Yeah, Jura.
Keep in mind that Jura was
ripped.
the only Shinju that displayed the ability to fly at that point in time. And when you take into context the purpose of showing each of their unique abilities back then, narratively speaking, was to hint towards who got cloned.
So yeah, obviously since Jura can fly, he most likely has some type of Otsutsuki DNA flowing inside of his veins. Even Boruto said during chapter 6 that Code's chakra, and not only his chakra, but the karma seal, had some effect on the Shinju. Even if Code's karma isn't a traditional karma, it's still made of Otsutsuki essence, and that somehow has affected the Shinju to this point. So they can evolve without devouring Otsutsuki, and you see Jura can fly. It also made them like 10 times stronger than what they're supposed to be. So yeah, it had affected them a lot. And we know that the one person that had the closest connection to the Ten Tails that birthed the Shinju was Ishiki. So right there, that's a gateway into the theory.
This then narrows the field down to Kawaki, since he's the only person who looks similar to Jura, obsessed with Naruto, whilst also possessing the ability to fly, as seen in chapter 1. Which is very important because they made it a point to show Kawaki flying before doing the same with Jura. And I think that was done on purpose. With that said, this then leads us to the how. How were they able to clone Kawaki when he wasn't turned into a tree? Well, this all goes back to why they turned into a tree and how the Shinju were formed. You see, we're going under the assumption that you have to be turned into a tree for you to be copied, when that was never said. What we do know is that the chakra the Clawgrimes consumed by devouring humans was then used to create the Shinju. So what this implies is that the act of turning into a tree isn't what's necessary. What's needed is the consumption of chakra. In fact, it's also implied in the conversation between Sarada and Jonin 617 whatever, that the Clawgrimes turning into a tree is actually a defect of them consuming the chakra of non-Otsutsukis. So this simply means that if a Clawgrime consumed the chakra of an Otsutsuki, it wouldn't turn into a failed divine tree. It also wouldn't turn into a real divine tree, since they would also need to consume the Otsutsuki themselves for that to happen. This then brings us to chapter 2, when Kawaki was attacked and held down by a simple Clawgrime, which is likely when it was able to absorb some of his chakra. Now one would argue that it didn't bite him, so how did it absorb his chakra? Well, that's where the Renegan comes in. You see, this was the only Clawgrime we've ever seen manifest the Renegan. And this only happened after Kawaki interacted with it.
Okay, you see, this is a better theory now. I like this part of the theory more than him just saying like, oh yeah, he can fly like Kawaki, he looks like Kawaki, he's after Naruto, and Kawaki loves Naruto. This is a more compelling argument, because I do think this is true, and I'm not going to go back to check neither, but I think this is the first time we've seen a Clawgrime with the Renegan. And because Ikimoto showed the Renegan up close, it could mean something in the long run. Obviously, one of the abilities of the Renegan is to absorb chakra. So now he's probably gonna say, yeah, one of the claw grinds absorbed some of Kawaki's chakra, which then fed into the Ten-Tails and created Jura. Or it might have something to do with the claw grinds resonating with Kawaki's Otsutsuki chakra. Because like we established, Code used his blood to create these claw grinds. And even though he is not an Otsutsuki, he still has the DNA. We're getting closer, we're getting closer.
This likely means that the Ten-Tails is able to somehow sense that he was an Otsutsuki, then transmitted more power and its Renegan into that claw grind, the one that was closest to Kawaki. Not to mention the fact that it then started to speak, showing early signs of consciousness. It wouldn't be wild to believe
evolution.
that the main Renegan of the Ten-Tails has the ability to absorb chakra, which would then pass down to any claw grind that possessed it. So in this case, it didn't need to bite Kawaki. It would just need to absorb his chakra by simply holding on to him, as seen with any Renegan user who had that ability. Oh, and by the way, this isn't anything new. The white Zetsu that were created by the prior Ten-Tails had the ability to consume or copy someone's personality and physical appearance by simply touching them and absorbing their chakra. So it might even be the case here as well. Now there of course is a difference between the two powers, which is that the Shinju also possess their memories and powers and abilities, unlike the white Zetsus. So maybe this is a more advanced version of it or something totally different. With that said, some might argue that the claw grind was destroyed and didn't turn into a tree, so how did the Ten-Tails get that chakra? Well, for one, we don't in fact know that it needs to turn into a tree to send the chakra, since the story implies that turning into a tree is actually a defect. What is more likely is that the claw grinds are able to transmit the chakra to the Ten-Tails using the claw marks on their bodies, which are also on the body of the Ten-Tails. That would explain how they also transmit the chakra of the other tree people to the Ten-Tails in another dimension. So as you can see, this all makes sense if you really wanted to. Kawaki from all the options, all the possibilities, makes the most sense. The Jura Shinju matches Kawaki the most. He possesses Kawaki's ability to fly and shares the same physical characteristics, along with similar stances with their hands in their pockets, just a few chapters apart.
Yeah, that does make sense. All we know right now is he is the reincarnation of the Ten-Tails, but we don't know everything there is to know about him. While I still think he is the reincarnation of the Ten-Tails, I can possibly believe that Kawaki's chakra may have affected him a little bit, and that may have swayed his instincts to go after Naruto, maybe give him the power to fly, crazy strength directly from an Otsutsuki, and even the ability to evolve faster than the other Shinju. So I'll say it like this, right? If it does come out that Kawaki's chakra or some of his Otsutsuki essence did get drained when he was held down by the claw grind, then I would say yeah, this theory does have some merit to it. Because right there, that was the only way for the other Shinju to be born. They needed that chakra from their counterpart. And even though Jura doesn't have a direct counterpart, and since that scene happened before the Shinju were born, you can say that Kawaki does have an influence on Jura. But I think that's gonna be it for this video. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a theory separate from what we already heard. We heard everything he was talking about in the first half of the video. You know, Jura going after Naruto because Kawaki loves Naruto and all that. I wanted to hear something more enticing, something that I never heard personally, and I felt like he done that in the second half of the video. So now that gives us a really good argument to go off of. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you guys think there is a chance that Jura is a clone of Kawaki? If so, or if not, leave all your thoughts and ideas down below in the comment section. I do think it's interesting, I will say that, because right there, that leaves grounds for a huge plot twist later on. Like, if Ikimoto wanted to do that, he could because he already laid the seeds for it. All we gotta determine now is if it's gonna become a reality in the future. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, and that's gonna be it. So Kidomaki, like I said before, I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description, so make sure you guys go check him out. And without further ado, if you guys enjoyed this video and don't mind seeing more like this in the near future, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on them post notifications so you get notified whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until next time, I'm gonna see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.